Hey folks, welcome back to another book talk with Tracy, and welcome to my little art studio. I have filmed some of these here in this room before, but I'm back here again. My little kind of a messy place where I hang all the pictures I want and paint and do whatever else I feel like doing. Anyway, today I'm here to talk about a very exciting project, at least to me. It's called Aliens Among Us, and it's a cool book for me in a lot of ways because it marks a lot of firsts. This is the first time I actually wrote a full-length science fiction novel. I actually was part of a project several years ago where a bunch of us there was a co-author writing group, and we wrote Colony Zero. But this is the first time I actually wrote a full-length novel, science fiction novel by myself. It also is the first time that I have ever written in the first-person point of view. So rather than telling the story from somebody else's point of view, I'm the main character, although I'm not really. Obviously, it's a teenage boy, but where I use the pronouns I and me, things like that. So it was really interesting, and I really enjoyed that because it is a way to get into the person's head in a really deep way. So I feel like there's a lot of really deep point of view in this book because of that first person, and I really enjoyed writing in that way. So I may do more of that. The other thing that was a first for me with this book was writing in the present tense. Now that is something that I haven't done before, and it's actually quite difficult. Most fiction, at least mainstream fiction, is written in the past tense. They went here, she did that, and it's already kind of happened because you're telling the story. Whereas with present tense point of view, you have to use present tense verbs like we are here. She is doing that. And so it's actually a lot more difficult to do than one might think. But it is quite a current trend, especially in youth fiction. Certainly popularized through things like the Hunger Games and others. So I thought, I'm going to give that a try. And it was challenging, but I think it also really does bring about that immediacy to the story and really lends itself well to YA fiction or young adult fiction, which, again, another first. This is the first book I've ever written that was written for that audience. So a lot of firsts with this book. And it was challenging, but it was a lot of fun for me to write, and I'm actually really proud of it. So I want to talk a little bit about the inspiration for this book. And for those people who know me well, you know that I'm a huge science fiction nerd. For those who don't know me, well, now the secret's out. You can even see behind me, I like to try to that's my version of an alien, and for a long time as a printmaker I was doing a lot of sort of space related themes and things like that. So I've always loved science fiction, and as a child my favorite show was Star Trek. I used to like lots of other Lost in Space and quite a few of those too, but I was definitely a Trekkie. And as a young teen, rather than having bands and other boy posters in my room, I had Leonard Nimoy, who, for those who don't know, is the actor who played Spock. I was in love with Leonard Nimoy as a young teen, him and the Bay City Rollers, but that's another story. Anyway, so I had pictures of the Enterprise, of Leonard Nimoy, and I loved Star Trek. Like, I saw every single episode. And I watched them as a child, and I continued watching them and collecting them as an adult. And I'll maybe tell a little bit more about that the next time, because I don't want to make this too long. But suffice to say that I love science fiction. And so then that begs the question, well, why is this the first time you've ever actually written a science fiction novel? And I guess my answer is, I think I've been afraid that I just wouldn't do it justice. I love the genre so much, and I've never quite felt like I could write good enough for that genre. So even though I've read lots of science fiction and I've watched obviously a lot of it, and I really, really enjoy that genre, there was always this fear about stepping into the realm of writing about it. So I am really grateful that I did have that experience a few years ago writing Colony Zero, and I might show the cover of that next time. But this was the first real attempt at it. So I want to talk a little bit more about how this book came to be, when I started writing it, how it all came together. But I think that will be enough for this time, because I don't want these to be long. My goal is to make them about 5 minutes long, and I'm already over that time limit. So if you haven't read Aliens Among Us, give it a try, even if you're not a young adult or you don't like science fiction. Let me just say, pop over to my website, tracykrauss.com, TracyKrauss.com, and you'll find all my books and plays, because I'm a playwright too. And you can find out all about them, including this book. Please leave a review online if you do read any of my material. And stay tuned for the second segment in Aliens Among Us coming up next week. Adios. Bye-bye.